right, good morning. Grooving out here, right? Isn't that what it's all about? Just getting prepped. Welcome to our team meeting today for Tuesday, June 10th. That's right. Can you imagine it's already June? Wow. Crazy stuff. Summer is here. I'm sure many of you out and about enjoying the weather. That's why you're not showing to my our team meetings. Lots of good stuff we got going on. We're going to talk about inventory levels today in Illinois, some things that will probably surprise you or maybe even shock you, right? That's what we're here for, right? Excitement on the level of a good telenovela. What else? Pride Month at EXP, CRM of choice, new toolkits, lots and lots of stuff coming on. Move on to the most important part. Couple things. Coach's Corner, that's right, with Steve. Today we're going to talk about inventory and how this affects your business. Let's talk about inventory. This is really, I've stumbled, obviously I read as much as I can about the industry, what's going on, and how these all, what's happening in there. And so when you're assessing like home price momentum, it's really obviously important to monitor active listings, monitor months of supply. And so when you're looking at active listings, and hopefully for you, if you're a listing agent or even you as a buyer's agent, should be looking at this frequently, because you need to use this to educate your clients all around about what's going on the market, and statistics do support and help you. So again, as you start looking at active, so nationally we can see on a national basis that nationally active listings are on the rise. Okay, we're looking at almost a 31.5% increase in active listings between May 2024 and May 2025. Okay, this is nationally, and we're going to talk about statewide in Illinois as well. And there's going to be some statistics here that are probably going to knock your socks off. And this is when I saw this, I felt this is really important for us to talk about. So when you're looking at that, how long do homes remain on the market? Are they staying on for longer periods? And so if you're looking at an increasing number of homes on the market, it may indicate either a pricing softness or weakness, or maybe or a decline in active listings. Obviously can suggest a market that is heating up. And obviously we know, generally speaking, local housing markets have jumped right above pre-pandemic 2019 levels nationally, right? And again, over the past 36 months, we've seen some declines all around. But again, every housing market is local. Active inventory really remains far below 2019 levels in several states. But again, that's a good thing for home prices, right? It's a good thing for the sellers. It's bad for buyers. And so let's look nationally. This is a screenshot of nationally listings in May of any specific year. Obviously, May is a very active month in most all markets. It's spring, especially in markets like ours that are seasonal in the Midwest, where you can see that the listings really declined rapidly post COVID 2020, right? You can see there, but have started to come back almost to even from prior to 2020. So if you see May 2019 is kind of where you say it's the market that predates the pandemic of 2020. Nationally, almost 1.2 million properties were listed on around that time period. And then as you see, May of 2020, it started to go down. And then inventory levels continued to go down in 2021, 2022, and then slowly started to tick back up in 2023, 2024, and 2025. Again, keep in mind, this is on a national basis. And so, but now we need to drill down into what is going on in local markets, what is going on in state levels here. And so I'm going to jump into this interactive map, and I'm going to share this with you in the chat here so that you can use this to have conversations with your clients about what's going on in the market, right? Look, let's look at this on a national basis. There have definitely been some changes. So what this report shows you is the increase in inventory in the past 12 months. The increase in inventory in the past 12 months. And so you can see markets that are really doing I mean, inventory is just basically, I mean, for lack of a better word, crashing. There's a lot more. If you look at California, here we're seeing an increase of inventory by 50% year over year. So from May 2024 to May 2025, they have a 51% increase in their inventory. Lots of houses on the market. Nevada, 58% increase in inventory. Lots of homes on the market. Lots of properties sitting. Not as much, not as many sales, right? Properties just sitting out there. So the prices ultimately will end up starting to soften. North Carolina, again, these are some of the big states where there have been, you know, massive inventory issues. So the market has basically come to a screeching halt. Amy, can you get the link to this map? Yes, I will definitely share this. But now look at Illinois. Okay, so year over year, we've only seen a 15% increase in inventory, a 15% increase in inventory. So that's not a lot. Okay, not a lot at all. So, you know, since parts of California and whatnot, these states where there's been massive increases in inventory, obviously that's good for buyers, right? Not so great for sellers, but good for buyers. If we look at Illinois, not a lot of increase in inventory in the past 12 months. So not, again, so, but good for sellers, but not great for buyers. So what comes up next? When we look at the active housing inventory for sale compared to pre-pandemic levels. So if you look at the same statistics of inventory increases over the past 6 years, basically, right? 6 years. Let's look at this now. This is where, uh, I mean, for lack of a better word, this kind of took my breath away because I was just, you know, until you have it really in front of you and you see it, it will just kind of shock you. The fact that let's look at active housing inventory for sale compared to pre-pandemic levels, right? 2019 is kind of considered the year prior to the pandemic, when we quote unquote still had a normal market that wasn't affected by that situation. And so now there's about 10 states whose active inventory have come level with where we're at or have increased based over prior to pre-pandemic levels. You can see that being Arizona, you know, is this Arizona? Yeah. Arizona, Colorado, Utah, Hawaii, Oregon, right? So they have, in these cases, look at Washington and Arizona, where their inventory levels now have exceeded prior to 2019 in that entire time period. But you know, if you look at the Midwest, it's interesting to see, and you can see Illinois. And I'm gonna hover over Illinois for you, so you can look through this. I know it's kind of small, but I will share this one as well, Amy. I swear. But look at this. Our pre-pandemic inventory now is negative 64% versus pre-pandemic. And so you can look in the breakdown here. The inventory in May of 2019 was 51,000, over 51,000 homes. And then it slowly continued to go down, right? 2020, 39,000 homes. 2021, 22,000 homes. 2022 and 2023 probably was the worst year for inventory in Illinois. Then the May of 2023, there were only 15,000 homes on the market. That's over 64% less than pre-pandemic, and it has not changed, increased much. We're seeing a little bit of increase. You can see here 2024, a negligible increase to 16,000 homes. In May of 2025, now we're at around 18,000 homes in the market. So that's where you see that If I go back to that prior map, where just in the past 12 months, you're seeing a 15% increase. So that's good. We're seeing a little bit of increase in our market, and that's good for buyers. But the big thing to look at is this number here. We're hurting. Okay, this is where the one that just shocked me the most. We have no inventory in Illinois, and there is no inventory, and it does not look like this is going to change anytime soon, right? So, question is, how would you use this information with your clients, with your buyers, with your sellers, right? I'll drop these maps in the chat box and drop your comments in. That's the one that's the 2020-19. And then here's the last 12 months map that I'm going to drop in the chat as well. And so again, start thinking about this. Questions, comments, feedback, like what would you use this information for with your buyers and sellers? What's going on? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And one big issue, and here's the statistic. This is a chart that shows all 50 states and where we rank in terms of inventory increase in pre-pandemic levels. We are pretty much dead last. Illinois is pretty much dead last in terms of increase in inventory since pre-pandemic. We're the second worst, or second to last in terms of inventory. The only state that has had a less of an inventory increase than Illinois is Connecticut. So why are these things going on? Number one, there's no building going on in Illinois. There's no building going on in Illinois, or there isn't. There are very few new builds, and we need those homes. And we especially need those homes that are there for individuals that are entry level, right? Townhomes, condos, starter homes, like that's where it's getting sucked up. So that's the number one issue there, lack of building. Number two, rate lock. All right, question in the chat box. I constantly having conversations about why I don't think we're going to have another 2008 meltdown. Yeah, totally agree. I'd let buyers know how to make a move during summer when inventory is higher. Great. Usually after August or September. It's a really great point. Michael, you're absolutely right. I want to keep. Yeah, I got to jump over to a different chart for you guys here real quick so that I can kind of reinforce what Michael said. You can see down here on the bottom left, it's in Illinois. And you can see how the inventory is continuing to go down and down and down. And so it's really interesting to watch here. When's the best time for a seller to list their home? Inventory wise is around May, right? Here, 14,000 homes on the market in May, 16,000 homes on the market in May 2025, right? That's a great time to list. But you need to really process through. A great time for a buyer tends to be here. You see where the inventory goes up. Right here, I'm in the lower left where it says in October of 2024, there's 22,000 homes on the market. So in my mind, if I'm a buyer or a buyer's agent, that's the time period where there are lots of properties sitting on the market because they didn't sell in the summer. Maybe they were overpriced. And those are opportunities there for buyers to get into the market. So the best time for buyers, Michael, like you said, is fall. There's more inventory, there's more availability for homes. Maybe sellers are frustrated because they're not getting their homes sold. So Lisa, yes, I'll share this chart as well and drop it into there. But again, we are dead last. Why else is this happening? High homeowners insurance rates in other states, right? Oftentimes we've talked about for years, everybody's leaving Illinois. They're moving south, right? They're going to go here. Everybody's moving to Florida or Texas or whatnot. But what we're seeing is people going to Florida and then moving back. People are moving to Texas, moving back to Illinois for various reasons. It's not cheap down there anymore. Homes are expensive. Unless homes start to come down in those markets, which we may see, right, as you're starting to see inventory levels, right? Let's go back to this chart about inventory levels. So look at places like Florida, where inventory levels have come up. Texas, where inventory levels have come up. Even like in the past 12 months, right? So these are those areas where, so if prices start to come down in those markets and we start having more outward migration, but we can't guarantee that, right? That's the tough part. But then also, even in these states, homeowners insurance in areas like Florida and the Carolinas and whatnot, because of and even in Texas, right, because of floods, hurricanes, and whatnot, are extremely expensive. And so the cost advantage to moving to those areas, warm weather notwithstanding, it's starting to become more expensive to live in these areas than in Illinois. And so people are staying put. They're not leaving. Again, rate lock. You've got millions and millions of people in the state of Illinois whose interest rates are below 3%, and there's no reason for them to move. And they're not going to. And so this puts you in that space, right? And then also a big issue in Illinois, because we have a really consistent rental market, is that a lot of investors, institutional investors, continue to keep purchasing those lower level inventories. They're pricing out those first time home buyers. The first time home buyers can't get in and buy these, entry level homes because all these, institutional investors are coming in, they're paying cash for them and they're renting them out. And so it's just, you need to be aware, right? This is the most important part that I'm explaining to you and talking to you about, is just being aware. Is there a seller's market in Illinois? I don't know. Not really, right? Because there's just no one's moving anywhere. And so these are things that you need to be explaining to your clients, right? Number one, are you using this, or can you use this to share this information with buyers when they're frustrated that they're losing out on homes? Yes or yes. So for those of you that are working with buyers right now who are extremely frustrated because they're putting in multiple offers or they're getting beat out by all cash buyers or over list, whatnot, this is information you need to share with your buyers. This is what's going on. Okay, we are pretty much dead last in the country as it relates to inventory. This is why you're frustrated. It's not my fault, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, that you can't get these homes. Okay, this statistically is what's going on in the state of Illinois, is what you need to be aware of. And then on the flip side for sellers, look, yeah, inventory is increasing in Illinois by about 15%. So yes, we're still in a seller's market, but you still have to price it right. Okay, inventory is increasing over time. But the most important piece for those of you that are working with buyers right now who are extremely frustrated, and I'm talking to buyers all the time. Let me share the chart that shows all 50 states. I think I have that. I will have to try and find that. So have these conversations with your buyers too, right? What's going on in the market? Crystal, I don't have that in my chat. I'm trying to find that chart and I can't find it. Ah, there it is. Okay. I dropped it in the chat box. The quality isn't that great, but if you want to message me in Workplace, I can try and get you a better quality one. So these are the conversations you need to have. Ultimately, too, this could be a good thing for the economy as a whole, right? We know that as the housing market softens, it reduces inflation, right? A soft housing market reduces inflation. So keep these parts in mind. But again, these are resources for you to share with your clients, right? Share with your clients, talk to them about what's going on. And now we come full circle. The impediment to action advances action. Our impediment in our market right now is lack of inventory. Lack of inventory stands in your way, that becomes the way. So for you as real estate agents and our agents in Illinois, you've persevered. I can't tell you how impressed I am with our agents at eXp Illinois, how you've grown, how our company has grown. In May of this past May, right, we did the most transactions we've ever done, 940 units for over $240 million, right? The biggest month we've ever had. June is going to be another amazing month, probably going to be the best month we've ever had, probably well over 1,000 transactions, which EXP Illinois has never hit. And this is a credit to you. So, and the really fantastic agents we have at EXP Illinois. So thank you for hanging in there and understanding. But the knowledge is really important. You're sharing this with yourself, sharing this with your clients, being aware of what's going on in the market, knowing how to attack it, how to get around it. Right? Obviously, sellers are key. Getting deep into your database and talking to everyone in your database that who needs to sell, it wants to sell, it wants to move out of Illinois. Like the fact that there is just a whole entire lack of inventory in the state. If you're listing your home, you're going to sell it. But also when you're working with sellers who want to buy, that they're very much aware, right? You have to come from a consultative approach. Go, look, yes, we can sell your home really fast, but it's going to be very, very hard for us to find something for you to move into or for buy if you intend or staying in the state of Illinois. Right? So you just have to be very aware of that. What are some of those things that you can do? Can you do a lease back with the buyer, right? So that the seller can stay in the property for a few months while they're looking? Or can are you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, prepared to move in to temporary housing or move in with family members while you continue to look for a property? Because it's going to take time. You have to be realistic with sellers. Don't just, oh yeah, let's sell your home. Oh, it's gonna be great. We're gonna sell it now. Sell overnight. We'll get multiple offers. That's really great. But if you're not counseling your seller effectively, they're gonna blame you. They're gonna get mad at you that they can't find anything else. And unless you educate them on why they can't find anything else because of lack of inventory, then you're not doing your job. So good stuff. All right. Just have to blow through these pieces. What else is important? I don't know. Please give us an NPS survey. I want you to strive in 2025. Join our Facebook page. And